even at like 15, I was hosting barbecues. I'm so much of a control freak. I just like to know what's going on. I'm not normally like an organised, fun person. I always think that candles are very important. Lighting in general, because there's like being a great person and there's being someone that's like really fun to have dinner with. If you had to ask me what cuisine I would eat for the rest of my life, the answer would never change from Italian. Pasta, butter and pepper, delicious. Everything fresh is just yum.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tables to Talk About. This week I am joined by the brilliant Chrissy Ryan, founder of BookBar, the North London bookshop and wine bar that has redefined how we connect over books. Chrissy has built a community around the simple joy of sharing stories, whether it's through her beautifully curated shelves, buzzy events, or their signature books and bangers nights in the shop. We talk all about the magic of reading as a social experience, the dream dinner party she'd throw, and what it's been like opening a second space in Chelsea following the huge success of the original BookBar. It's a cosy, inspiring chat full of good food, good guests, and great conversation. Let's get into it. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Callie. It's so nice to be chatting to you and catching up. I feel like it's been a while.
I know, it's been ages. I think the last time I saw you was that yard sale birthday party.
Oh my God, yes. Was that like a year ago?
A year ago. Yeah.
I feel like it was, and it was so fun.
Yeah.
It was at Rowan's in Finsbury Park, and we were like basically just chasing down the pizza, which was like couldn't, like as soon as like 10 more pizzas came out, it was gone within seconds because everyone was so excited and ravenous to eat yard sale pizza.
Yeah, we were like vultures.
Yeah, but like thankfully not just us, everyone at the party was.
No, everyone was vultures, yeah.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you be when yard sale's so good?
Yeah, it was like diving in for a slice whenever they came out.
Like yeah, it was ages ago, so lots of things that have happened and are going on.
I know. I'm excited to catch up. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm excited to chat to you about your dream dinner party. To kick things off, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about BookBar?
My name's Chrissy. I am the founder of a business called BookBar, which is a bookshop, wine bar, coffee bar, events and social space. Sorry, that sounds very long-winded, but that's basically the way of saying that BookBar was created to bring people together through books. So everything we do is about like making sure that people have a place to kind of form community and socialize around books. And we are the whole team of like really passionate booksellers, sort of fully trained baristas. We love our wine. We love events. We put on loads of author events with like authors you'd recognise and also debut authors. We have a book club. There's loads of brilliant stuff going on, but everything is about basically like building community around book, which is what I think bookshops do best.
Amazing. And you've just opened a second location.
Yeah, so we started, that's crucially, we started 4 and a bit years ago in Islington up on Blackstock Road for all you North London gang. And then we've recently, as in the last couple of weeks, just opened a new shop in Chelsea, just off the King's Road, serving the West London community there too. But it's really fun being in a totally new location and sort of getting to know an area and building that community from scratch again. So it's been a really fun and busy few months really, because it's obviously started a while ago. But
yeah, no mean feat, like opening a brand new space.
Yeah, I'd sort of forgotten. Like it's
blacked out.
yeah. I'd forgotten like, oh my goodness, you need to think about this, I haven't thought about that, but it's going well. And honestly, I'm like so proud of how the space looks. It's so beautiful. And I am not an artist or designer, so I can like say that it was the brief was mine, but we had an amazing like team of people who kind of helped it come together. Yeah, really, really like a really special experience actually, sort of like bringing the original BookBar into a kind of different era, I guess. It was really, really cool.
How did you choose the new location? Did that take you quite a while to kind of figure out where you wanted a second one?
Like any of these things, a lot of you plan and you think, and then the unexpected happens and it happens in a way you don't imagine. But essentially where we are is on a list. So the King's Road is like right there, like it's with a sort of second shop in on a new run of shops just on a road off the King's Road, and it's this old cinema that the landlord has redeveloped, and they're sort of creating this sort of creative quarter. So we've got a record shop opening in a few weeks next door, and then We've got a business called Art Play opening up, who sort of do like creative classes and things, and they're quite good for like, you can have a glass of wine while you learn to paint and that sort of thing. So I think all of us are like creative businesses who also are keen to build community. There's a Curzon cinema going on in the basement. So yeah, there's like we're the first ones sort of with the doors open, but everyone's gradually getting there. So it's quite fun. Like, we're not just building a new shop for ourselves, but a new community, but within this like amazing kind of really established area as well. So it's not off the beaten track at all. It's very much on the beaten track, but we're creating this like new little alcove of it. So
that's so fun. That's so fun. And to like have like a really nice community of people around you that are all doing similar things will be...
Yeah, it's really cool. And everyone's so nice and like really passionate about what they're doing. And yeah, so it's been really nice. And we've had loads of we've had events already, and it's been like the Islington shop is gorgeous, and we love hosting events there. But our capacity was limited there because it's about sort of 20-25 seats if you're having a sit down event, whereas here we can do about 65. So it suddenly immediately gives us our own bigger space for events, which has been a game changer. So that was really like the big defining thing of when I was looking for somewhere. How could it support our needs for the events that we love to host and that our community love to come to? And this was like, when this opportunity came up, it was like, oh, this is like central enough that you can travel, like it's easy to get to, but there's also a community around it. It's far enough away from our other shop that we're like not gonna sort of cannibalize what we're doing up there, but that also like our community up there can still come to, and it doesn't feel like it's it is further away, but it's not it's close enough to central London, because the King's Road is sort of like a bit of an extension of central London. So, and it sort of ticked all the boxes. Found it was really important for it to be on sort of a ground floor, so that wheelchairs and prams and accessibility was an important factor. And yeah, the event, a big enough event space.
So exciting. How did the idea for BookBar come about in the first place?
Oh, it's such a good question. There's like the romantic story, which I'll tell first. It's the story that every book lover probably has, like the idea that every book lover probably wishes they could do or wants to do. And like, I get so many people all the time being like, oh, I would love, like, my dream is to do this. And so often people say, my dream is to do this in retirement. And I'm always like, that's really nice, but I promise you, don't do it in retirement. Like, retirement is like, do you know what I mean? It's not a retirement job, having a business, I promise. Like, it's really not. My mum's friend always tells this story of the first time she met me, which was when I was 13. And for some reason, she was picking me up from school. And I remember it really clearly. I remember being in her car and sitting in the front seat next to her. And she said to me, so making chat with me, I guess, what do you think you'd like to do when you're older? And I said, I really want to have a bookshop and cafe. And I sort of always joke that was before I discovered wine and threw the wine into it as well. So I guess it's something I always wanted to do. And there's like, over lockdown, I discovered I used to keep a journal. And in that journal, I was looking through them sort of cringing at myself, my 18-year-old self. But there's a passage that I must be really stressed about my A-levels or something. And I was like, I just wish I could not do my A-levels and like someone could just give me the money to open a bookshop. And like that was genuinely like almost verbatim or like some variation on that. I just didn't realise I'd always wanted to do it, So I guess that's like the romantic thing of then doing the thing that you'd always wanted to do. In between, I wanted to do all sorts of things. I wanted to be a civil servant. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to there were all sorts of like career paths along the way. But it kind of, I guess, in reality, what happened was that I always loved books and had always thought I'd go and do something different, and ended up, when I was doing my master's, working in a bookshop and realising that I was so lucky to get that job, because it's really hard to get a job in a bookshop. It started off as a way to pay the bills by doing something I loved. I was good at it and I loved it. And as much as I enjoyed my master's, suddenly the bookshop and the book selling was like the thing I was most excited about and the thing that really like took over my life. And then I ended up in publishing and selling books to bookshops, both in the UK and then abroad. And over the course of that time, just this little idea, like, and I had a little notebook. I have a notebook where I write all the books I read in it. In the back of that, I had a little, like, it's tiny. It's like a tiny little notebook. And I just had this like page that said BookBar. And I'd just occasionally write down, like, just a thought if I was on the tube, oh, that's a good idea, and I would just do that. And then the pandemic happened and I was working abroad, and I was working in a bookshop abroad, and I was having a great time. But I came home because I was worried about family, and sort of the question was what next. And I'm really lucky that my parents had a business, and I think as a result, it's never been an alien thing. They had care homes for the elderly, and we lived in their business when I was a child. So like I knew what it looked like to do that, and they have never shied away from talking around it. You know, they'd have their like informal business chats around the dinner table, and we would be listening and asking questions. And I think, you know, they ran it together. So that was like, they managed that kind of duality of running a family, running a business. And so the two really, really overlapped. And I think I remember having a chat with my parents over lockdown and sort of saying, "Oh, I'm thinking that I really want to start this thing called BookBar." And I feel like instead of being the parents who would be like, "What a stupid idea! How on earth are you going to do that?" They were like, "We wish we'd done it when we were your age, and you know, like show us the business plan." And like that was, and I just think like having that encouragement, whether that's from parents or a friend or a mentor or just someone that you've witnessed in your life who walks alongside you for something, I think like that really helps. I don't know if that's your experience, Callie.
Yeah, my dad also had his own businesses that like the whole time I was growing up, so it's similar. It was just it was like encouraged, if anything, like that was a better path than working for someone else. So I think I'd always known I wanted to work for myself. It was just like timing.
Yeah, and what how you would go about doing it. Yeah, I think I always felt like I never needed other people's pressure. Do you know what I mean? Like just the pressure I put on myself, which is not necessarily a good thing. I'm not like selling, like, I don't think this is a good thing. I think that helps you to know that you can do it, because you need to be very, very able to, I guess, put that pressure on yourself to show up for the business, because no one else will if you don't.
Yeah, it's like you have the freedom and the flexibility of not having somebody else breathing down your neck, but you're actually doing it worse to yourself.
Yeah, yeah, you know, no, totally. It's like, it is not a healthy thing. I think there's a bit of like, maybe it would have always happened. But I also think I'm the sort of person that would struggle to do something that I wasn't passionate about. And I'm not saying that, like, I think, as in, like, I think the thing, I was never just going to set up a business because even though I think I sort of potentially always wanted to, like you, or just, it's always been a consciousness. Like, I just want to care about the thing in itself, not just about the business, if that makes sense.
The passion is what feeds the hard times and the long hours and the ups and the downs, you know.
Totally. And I think some people are really just motivated to be an entrepreneur and
Yeah.
to have a business. I don't know if that's, you know, I feel really lucky that I've managed to thus far make a success of a business that is so integrated with everything I care about in life, which is books and people.
From being like, right, I'm going to do this, to actually opening, how did that process kind of go? Like, how long did that take? Because I imagine that's the actual challenging bit.
Yeah, I think, do if you feel this, a level of naivety is also required. Like, I think if you knew, you wouldn't do it. I always say that. I'm like, you just almost have to just do it. And because it's such a daunting thing, and I don't know, like having the physical spaces as well, I think adds a level of complexity and fear, because you're reliant on overheads. So it actually started off without me having those overheads, and I just started selling the books from my bedroom over lockdown. And I knew that the plan was to have a physical space, and I was never building it as an online brand. Like, I was never building it that way, because everything that I wanted to do was so much about people and books and connecting those two things, and connecting people that love books with other people. And I'm not saying that there's not brilliant ways to do that online, but I think I'm so interested personally in creating physical spaces and physical communities, as well as like wider communities. But obviously with lockdown, that was just not possible. But what it did was it gave me the opportunity to just go for it with very little risk.
So we're going to talk about your dream dinner party today. Are you someone who likes to host?
I love to host. The last 4 years have been less hosty for me, but I feel like when I was younger, I was always like, even when we were teenagers, instead of like doing much more cool things, I would invite friends around for dinner, and I would make dinner. It would be fairly simple. It'd be like a chili con carne or something. It would be like something you could feed a crowd with. But I was always like, even at like 15, I was hosting barbecues. It was like where, as we got older and started going out, it was where we would always head back to my mum and dad's place. Like we would always stay there after nights out. And I think it comes from my mum and dad being really, really big hosts as well. Like mum is like loves doing all the like the food, and dad sort of does front of house, and it just really like there was just always people at home, whether it was like one of my brother's friends or my friends or my parents' friends, or like there was just like endless people in the house, and like showing up unexpectedly. And like I think, and again, growing up my parents' business, which was care homes for the elderly, there were like, 30 other adults in the building. And like I would just go downstairs and chat with a woman in her 80s, and she'd tell me her stories. And like I've always been very social, and I think I like hosting for that reason. Also, I'm a massive control freak.
Yeah, so you'd rather be the host than have somebody else hosting.
I like hosting rather than being hosted in the most part. It's nice to be hosted sometimes, but I think I like hosting more because I am so much of a control freak. I just like to know what's going on.
Do you think you'll be the one hosting your dream dinner?
Yeah, it wasn't even a question in my mind. Like it just wasn't. Like it was the only other way it would be like hosted by someone else was if it was in like a really nice like hotel or something, or like a restaurant with really amazing service where I felt like we were going to be really looked after. And that's not to undermine any of my friends or like anyone like that. I have like friends who are wonderful hosts, and I love being there, but probably I would host it. Or at my friend Sash's house. Yeah, I was just on my friend Sash has a lovely flat, and she's really she is the best host I know, and she really puts on an amazing meal. And so maybe at her house, if I were to be hosted by someone else, that would be where I'd be hosted. Well, it'll be hosted by her.
Your dinner party can take place wherever you like. Doesn't have to be at your house or her, like can be anywhere. So you can match up whether you're hosting depending on where the location is.
That's true. And also I could basically host it where I'd like, but with Sash being the host. But no, I do think ultimately I'm too much of a control freak and like to be in charge.
Would we be at yours?
I was thinking about this, and yes. When initially I was like, yes. But then I was like, actually, in a dream situation, no, it is my house, but my house is an Italian villa in Tuscany. So that's the dream. It's like, it's on a terrace overlooking like vineyards, rolling hills, beautiful sunset. We're at dusk, it's the beautiful it's like golden hour. We're sipping cocktails in front of this like gorgeous vista, and this like beautiful table, that like long table outside that's like, not under a veranda but sort of next to a veranda.
You know what? I'm going to have to go through all of the previous episodes, and like it's just the ultimate venue. More times than not, it's like sunset or like late afternoon going into sunset, outside looking over an expansive view. Like it's just like you can't get better than that.
You can't, and it's because I think when you put dream in someone's mind as well, you sort of immediately think, well, where do I hanker to be? And I think at the moment the last few months have been a lot because of setting up the new shop, and it has been amazing, but all I want to do. And so I think there'll be a bit of a theme. You can tell I really want to go to Italy. So I think if you asked me this in 6 months' time, I'd have a totally different set of answers because you've like put the word dream in my head. I'm like, I dream of being in Italy right now.
That's what you should be doing.
Yeah, initially I thought BookBar Chelsea, the new shop, because it's bigger and it is so beautifully done, and I just love spending time in here. Actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, BookBar Islington, the original shop, is just perfect. It's so like warm and relaxed, and I feel like it is kind of my happy place, I think, that space. And I've always wanted to do a dinner party there. I think logistically it's too hard, but in this world, it's not logistically too hard. We can do it. We've got a kitchen downstairs or something,
You don't need a kitchen in a dream world.
Exactly. It just exists.
Oh yeah, it would be so nice to do a dinner there though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be so nice. And we've got long tables running down the middle of both shops, and just like I don't know, it's like set up for that. It's almost set up for a dinner party already, I think.
Okay, talk to me about the table. Are you into tablescaping? How are you going to be styling the table?
Callie, this is where I need you, because I actually don't think I'm that into... Like, I like the vision of it, but I don't know if my execution is there. But I was thinking about it, and I think, I mean, there is a reason that you do your job. So, but I always think that candles are very important. So I know that's a very obvious thing to say. And you don't have, but like lighting in general is so important, whether that's candles or like, and that is something I'm a bit obsessed with, actually, is getting the lighting right. So I'd say, yeah, lighting is really important. And I also like to think that part of me is like, oh, like gorgeous, sort of very pared back, just I think that's a very, very chic way of approaching life. I've learned with time that is not my way of approaching life. And I am a maximalist. As much as I would like to be a chic, elegant person, I just am not. And so I think like lots of colour. So either colourful flowers, definitely colourful candles. And yeah, I think it would have to be I think I would be going down the maximalist route, because both my shops are totally drenched in purple, which I think says everything about my aesthetics.
How did you find like designing the shops? Did you find it quite overwhelming at first, or because you have to think about all those things, don't you? Like lighting and.
So the reason I went for purple is that I was really unsure about where to even start with it, and I sort of just like woke up in the middle of the night and had this like thought that purple was right, like a deep purple. And I feel like lots of bookshops, certainly at the time, maybe more so now, but at the time, like there was definitely like bookshops were blue or green, and you know what I mean. And I think I was very much like this. Firstly, I think purple's a really good color because it's very calming. Yeah, I think it's a very relaxing colour. It's quite a good energy colour. And so in the day, it was quite a chilled, nice vibe for coffee. But by night, it would sort of make the place feel more wine bar-y. So I knew that because we're a bookshop, but we also are a wine and coffee bar, it needed to be able to do the day to night transition. And I couldn't think of a colour that would do that better. So, and although friends always are like, Chrissy, you've always been obsessed with purple. I was like, really? I didn't think I liked purple that much. But and now I'm like, yeah, fair enough. You were right.
Buried in your subconscious.
Yeah. Same friend, Sash. She's a doctor, but she'd done an interior design course and she's brilliant at that as well. And so she was just really helpful to bounce ideas off, and she really helped me with the lighting, like thinking about lighting. So she was really good for that. And then the person that did our branding, who's brilliant, called Esther also was great at like, what about this and what about that, and throwing, sort of mocking up stuff if I like needed to visualize it. So I had like people who were very helpful, but it was very much like I would design something on a PowerPoint, and very badly, like literally like squares, and then say to the builder, this is what I mean. And he would say, do you mean this? And draw it on the wall. And I would go, yes or no, or can we change that? And it was very much done like that. This BookBar Chelsea's in the opposite experience, where there was a designer, brilliant Faye, who has been a customer at BookBar Islington for years, but who also has known me for sort of like a few steps away. You know what I mean? Like we have known each other sort of tangentially for longer, and she just knew exactly what I meant, like because she knew the shop, so she knew exactly like how to capture it. And then she did the design, and then there was a brilliant contractor and brilliant joiners, and like it was definitely like a much more a really collaborative experience this time, and like I had proper floor plans and like proper designs, and like all the stuff that you might have expected I would have had the first time round.
Well, it just goes with that, what you were saying about figuring out as you go along, like, yeah, you made it work the first time, but now you've got the experience, you've had that shop, you know what potentially works and what potentially didn't. Plus you've got all these people around you that can give you feedback on that. So going into the second one, you are obviously going to have like way more of an idea and clearer picture of what you could do.
Yeah, I really agree with that. And I think this space, because it needed to function, it was a bigger space, so it was going to be like, could it be feel too big and not cozy? And so how do we make it both cozy, but also then you can turn it into an event space at a moment's notice? Do you know what I mean? Like it needs to be able to function as this like basically essentially empty open room to put event chairs in and have a big event or a book launch. But then we've like created nooks, and the joiners did a great job in making sure all the furniture can move, and like a lot of amazing expertise has gone into the new shop, and as I say, it's very beautiful. So yeah,
I can't wait to come see. Okay, so we're doing like lots of colour on the table, keeping it quite fun, candles, flowers. Who are you inviting? One dead, one live, one fictional?
this is so hard, because from like just a host perspective, you're like, you want people who are going to like bring value. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you want people who are going to be fun to hang out with and be really interesting and have great conversation. There's like people I'd love to meet in real life, but I'm like, would they make a great dinner party guest? Because there's like being a great person and there's being someone that's like really fun to have dinner with. And you can be both, but you might not be both. So my live one, I was thinking, honestly, I was lucky enough to interview Graham Norton a few weeks ago. He was so much fun. And I think maybe because he's fresh in my mind, I was like, I would love to have like you as a dinner guest. And I bet you'd have loads of stories. And he'd also be really good at, if I was going to the kitchen to like do last touches, he would keep the conversation flowing. Do you know what I mean? He'd be a really good person just to like, he would ask questions, he would make people laugh. So either him or someone like him, I think, is a really good person to have. And he was so nice, like everything that you want him to be, he is that. And I just think, yeah, and he's so interesting and he loves reading, so I could chat about books with him. Dead, I had two thoughts. The first was Hilary Mantel, who is an author who wrote Wolf Hall and that series. And she is this amazing, like one of the like greatest thinkers of her generation. She wrote these incredibly intricate books. She won the Booker Prize twice. Like, she is so clever and would be an amazing like person. I would just love to spend an evening with her. And I think she was quite fun. Like, I think she was quite fun. And she died a few years ago, so I never did get to meet her. And I love her writing. My second thought for that slot, someone that's no longer living, would be someone like Oscar Wilde, who would just be a hoot. I think he'd be an amazing dinner party guest. But also I feel like it's about balance, and I don't know if I'm balancing this guest list very well. And then fictional, I really struggled with this one because I think there are probably lots of fictional characters that I admire, but do I want to have dinner with them? And do I want them there at a dinner party?
As someone who's made a career out of reading, fictional is quite hard.
Really hard, like really, really, really hard. With this question, it's, do you go for someone who you want to learn more about, or do you go for someone who's going to make it a good party? What do people tend to go down? Do people go for people that they want to have dinner with?
Oh, really, real mix, I think. I definitely think both is important. Like, you want to invite someone that you just like want to meet and want to chat with.
Yeah. Have you ever done yours?
No, never. People ask me what mine would be all the time, and I think I'd have to think about it for like a solid week.
Well, because I've had this for like a solid week, and I still don't really have a fictional answer. And I also feel like none of the answers I've given are actually my answers. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, do you know who I actually really want at my dream dinner party? I just want my best mates and my family. Like, do you know what I mean? I think that's it.
You can have them
think that is the real answer. Is that, isn't it? It's people you love, and also maybe because I'm lucky enough that I do get to meet lots of my heroes. Authors are a really nice version of, like, I don't even know if you'd say like authors are celebrities, but they are for book lovers, and like they don't have like a celebrityness about them because they are just normal people who love writing. So, and like obviously like there are authors that are more well known than others, but I think you do get to kind of like meet authors meet you on the same level. Do you know what I mean? Like there's often very little sort of like glamour around it. Like, it's just really nice. Maybe because of that, I don't necessarily have like, there's dream people I'd love to interview. So that's why I think Hilary Mantel is there, because I'd love to have a conversation with her. But like, again, is that the answer to my dinner party question?
I think it's a good route to go down. Like, if you just want to meet them and have a chat with them.
Yeah. And then there's also an author called Elif Shafak that I interviewed recently, who was also amazing, and I feel like you could speak to them for hours. And the other person that I would love to have at a dinner party is Dolly Alderton, who is so much fun and like, again, just so good with people and great. Like, she's just fab. The list for that could go like on and on and on and on, and it would be more like a stadium tour, you know?
You need to do like a whole authors like table.
Yeah, it's a gala on that front. Then I'm like, would someone really charismatic, like Dickie from The Talented Mr. Ripley, would he be a good dinner party guest? But maybe he's just too narcissistic. I don't know. So, but then I'm like, yeah, someone really glamorous, like Jay Gatsby or someone. Do you know what I mean? Like, someone like that would be a great dinner party guest. But I think in reality, I think it would genuinely just be people I love, or really amazing, empowering women. That would be like probably the two routes I would go down.
I mean, you can have your family and friends too, and then like these guys can just be extras.
I mean, why wouldn't you want Beyonce to come to your dinner party? Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so we've got the guests.
Or we haven't, but we will, you know.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've kind of got the guests.
They were honestly the hardest ones. I really struggled.
We've got the idea of the guests.
Yes, yeah. The vibe, interesting, fun, and like someone to hold it all together. That's the setup.
Guest is really hard. I think if you asked me, my answer would change like week on week.
Yeah, 100%. And those probably people probably in my head because of like they're just fresh in my mind, you know.
Okay, music. What are you going to be listening to?
And I'm really sorry because all my answers revolve around BookBar, which shows you how obsessed I am. But we do have a really good. We have 3 playlists, one called BookBar Snoozing, one called BookBar Bubblers, and one called BookBar Party Time. And they are made by my friend Alex, who just loves music and he's so good at this. And Alex is an amazing host, another brilliant host he's the person that if you ever like, he's just always hosting and he's a great cook, but he also just like creates a really great vibe. And when I was initially opening BookBar, he lived around the corner and we still do see a lot of each other, but we saw a lot of each other because we were neighbours as well. And he basically said, I'll put together some playlists for you. And he still comes into the shop and he goes, are you still using these playlists? And I'm like, yes, they're so good. And he adds to them still. Like there's like thousands of songs on there. So it's not even like you're really repeating yourself, although there are faves that when they come on, you're like, yeah. And like snoozing is like the kind of chilled, it's like a, you know, Monday morning, like just like creating a really like chilled atmosphere. Bubblers is like the next step up. And then Party Time we sort of use for like when we're really busy or there's like a big event happening, and that's just a lot more lively. But there's like levels of liveliness. So and I think they just work really well for dinner parties. The whole aim of them is that, I guess with BookBar I just basically created like my ideal place to hang out, and it happens that it's also lots of other people's, like not a nice place for other people too.
Like everyone coming to you always and you never having to go anywhere else.
That does create a night of it and a really nice a really nice tone. I think otherwise, I think that like Carole King's Tapestry makes a really good sort of dinner party sort of background, and artists like that who are sort of artists from that era. I think music from that era is really good for dinner parties, and just like both works really well as music to genuinely listen to and just to have on and create a vibe.
Are your BookBar playlists like publicly accessible?
Yeah, you can find them. Yeah, so they're actually on our website homepage, which Alex always he hates that I call him BookBar's resident DJ. He genuinely hates me for it. I love it.
Okay, I'll put them in the show notes so people can listen to them.
And then you can tell me which is the most dinner party friendly.
Okay, food and drink. Let's talk about the menu. What are you going to be serving?
Okay, so my favourite restaurant, I think, is Trullo in Islington. There are a few contenders for that title, but I think Trullo is my favourite restaurant. And so either I would get one of their chefs to come and cook and do their I love cooking actually. And a big part of hosting for me is that that sort of day in the kitchen or that afternoon in the kitchen, listening to a podcast, methodically prepping. So I would really enjoy that. I just think at the moment my brain is not like in the space where I have the capacity to do that. So I think either my dream is that I would be in a place again where I'm in a position to do that, because I do love cooking. I really love cooking and I love menu planning, but at the moment the thought of doing that is quite overwhelming. So, and it's why I haven't hosted something like this for a long time, because my brain has not, it's been overwhelming rather than a pleasure.
In your dream, you're in Tuscany and you can fly the head chef of Trullo over, so...
Absolutely, yeah. Totally. And otherwise, my friend, if they were unavailable, my friend Kate Young, who is an author and chef, is amazing. Her food is incredible. And she's a private chef. And so I would have her come and cook because she's amazing. My starter would be some sort of stuffed courgette flour. Or I actually there's a new restaurant in Highbury called Looper. I went there on Sunday and it is so good. And they had a stuffed courgette flour with burrata. It was stuffed with burrata and anchovies and it was so good. And then like a tomato and basil, sort of very fresh tomato and basil salad, I think would be like that kind of vibe. I would have a pasta course. But the pasta's not the main, even though I could eat pasta as my main every single day. It would be like a cacio e pepe, something like that. pasta, butter, and pepper. Delicious. Something really simple like that. I would probably have delicious pork or beef fillet or something and peppercorn sauce, but or like an Italian version of that. Just want to go to Italy right now. That's what I want. But I think yeah, I just love Italian food. I just think it's so good. And I think my boyfriend always says if I were a country, I'd be Italy as like a vibe. He always says that. I don't really know what he means, but I think that's a nice thing.
I think you need to ask him to clarify. It's going to be Chrissy's dream dinner party in Italy.
yeah.
Italian dream dinner party.
Oh yeah, dessert wise, I'm actually not a massive dessert person. So maybe like because it's not a like, if it was like my last meal on earth, it wouldn't necessarily be this meal. So maybe like a lemon tart or something, or just like a really simple, delicious homemade ice cream. And I'm not even massively an ice cream person, but just after that, just something fresh and refreshing.
What flavour would you go?
Cherry, I think, but with like proper cherries in it. So like an ice cream made out of where there are actual cherries in it. That would be really nice. I love like cherry flavoured things, but not that synthetic cherry, like proper cherry.
Yeah, I don't like a glacier cherry.
Yeah, totally agree. And like just like really fresh. I think everything fresh is just yum. You can't go wrong if it's just like fresh. No matter what cuisine, no matter what you're eating, I think it's just if it's like fresh and refreshing, then can't go wrong.
Okay, what are you drinking?
I really love sparkling wine, like an English sparkling wine. I love, and it's such a treat. I think that's the other thing. It is such a treat. Like it's not something, you're not just like cracking open a bottle of fizz every night when you get home. You know, like it is a treat. It's not something you do a lot. So I think, yeah, an English sparkling wine I would really love. Or if equally indulgent, like a nice bottle of champagne. Again, not something you get to do very much. And for my 30th, my partner took me to Champagne for like a long weekend, and we went like vineyard hopping, and it was like genuinely the best present. It was such a treat. So I feel like he knows me. And actually that would kind of be a location for you could imagine having this dinner party on a vineyard, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could definitely copy and paste the same situation just into a vineyard and it would be just as
Yeah. And maybe that's what you're doing, and then you're drinking wine from the vineyard. That would be chef's kiss. Like I like cocktails, and I really enjoy like a margarita or like something like that. Like, but I think generally, if I had to like remove all drinks from the planet, and it would be like healthy and nutritious for me to drink this drink forever, then I think wine would be like what I would drink, because I do really love wine.
Do you have a favourite?
It changes all the time. I love French wine generally, kind of no matter what. But at the moment, I'm having a really nice time drinking South African white and red wine. But there's a lovely like blend that I've been drinking at the moment called De Wonder Dry, which is a producer from South Africa, and it is delicious. Yeah. And it's a blend of Chardonnay and Colombard, I think. I'm trying to remember, but it's like a blend. It's really nice. So there's a great pub near the shop in Islington called the Draper's Arms that I love to go to, and it's their wine list is amazing, and they have their like team are really passionate about wine, so they've been really good at like introducing me to stuff out of my comfort zone. I also really like Tokai, which is Hungarian, and that's really nice.
Oh, you've got me craving a glass of wine.
And cold wine. So we probably haven't had one for ages.
You know what? It's not been so hard until like these sunny days, and now I'm like, get me in a pub garden with a cold glass of wine.
Not long, Callie. Not long.
Get me in a pub garden with a cold glass of wine and a baby.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can't wait to meet them.
Yeah, so exciting. Very exciting. But yeah, very much could have a glass of wine right now.
Yes, I'm sorry because I've just talked at length about how nice wine is, so.
No, it's fine. Doing this podcast while being pregnant is tough. Just come off it like, oh, that would be nice. We've eaten the meal. We've had plenty of wine. Do you like to do anything entertainment-wise?
I'm not normally like an organised fun person, I would say, but I do see the value in it in this kind of situation. Like, I think, things like the hat game, although a cliche, do work, and they work for good reason, particularly when people don't know each other. I think you often need something to re-energise the night. My mum is Scottish, and I used to host an annual Burns night dinner, and we would always we didn't do like proper the dressing of the haggis and stuff, but at the end of dinner we would always play like Scottish themed games. Like, we would do the hat game, but it was Scottish people, and we would do and then we'd always have readings from Burns's poetry. So it wasn't always the traditional ones. It was often you'd get people to like read out bits, and that was always really fun. And having people that aren't Scottish as well getting their heads around Robbie Burns's language is quite amusing to witness. But also like really nice to culturally like do that as part of something, like because of like my mum being Scottish. That was just always a nice thing to break up the evening. For my 30th birthday, I basically did do my dream dinner party, actually, and I hosted it at a French restaurant that I loved, but they had a piano in the restaurant, and we had this private room, and in the private room was a piano, and I booked a pianist to come to play, like not to have like background music while we were having cocktails at the beginning of the night, but to come after we'd had dinner and a few drinks, and for a sing-along. So it was like live karaoke, but with a pianist. And it was, honestly, it's not for everyone. It's really like, not everyone would enjoy that. There is nothing that I would enjoy more than that. Because I just love singing, and like I love karaoke, but there was something about it being a pianist. It was sort of like, I don't know if you've ever been, God, I haven't been for years, Piano Works in Farringdon, like that, like the fun of that, but like it was your own, this live musician performing songs that we then all sang along to. A moment I really remember where it was like my family all like we like line like sort of like with our arms around each other singing You've Got a Friend by Carole King, which is like a bit of there are lots of songs that remind me of my family, but that one in particular does. I remember like thinking, just like that was just such a special moment in my life that I will treasure forever, that memory. And I just think like there was just something, it was really fun, just like people like singing along to all sorts of different songs, like it was karaoke, but it was a guy playing the piano, and it was just so much fun.
Was he taking requests?
Yeah, he had a list of stuff so at the beginning he'd sent me like stuff that he already had on his radar, like that he could play, and so I like sent him back the ones that like sent him yeses and nos to things. So it was kind of curated by me, but then people would also be like, what about this, and he would do that. And yeah,
God, what a skill.
it was so cool, honestly, it was so cool.
That's like an incredible end to dinner party.
It just gave it another like energy to it, and the bar was still open, so people having cocktails, and like, yeah, it was just really, really fun, and like raucous but not raucous. Like it was like good old fashioned fun, like a sing-along. It was, and I loved it. So I would definitely do that again. I'm getting married next year, and I'm trying to think of a way to incorporate that.
That would actually be so good at a wedding.
I think it would. People are kind of doing it on the dance floor, I guess, like singing along, but there's something like very specific about it being, the purpose being so that you sing along.
Maybe, I think you probably have to do it between like in that bit that you have between dinner and dance floor, where people often have like a cocktail hour or like a transition.
Yeah, good idea.
People have had a few drinks, but more inclined to get involved.
If you are a drinker and it's like nice when people have had a few drinks for that, because it just like not too much, but just enough to like say that they're going to sing.
Okay, I've got some quick fire questions for you to end on. Sweet or savoury?
Savoury.
Favourite cookbook?
So the one I cook from most is probably Ottolenghi's Simple.
I often think the one that you cook from most should be that one, shouldn't it?
I've just discovered a new cookbook called Sama Sama by Julie Lynn. She's amazing, and I cooked from her book for the first time last night, and it was so good. I was actually like, ooh, this could be my new Ottolenghi Simple. So,
what did you cook?
I cooked, so she's like she does quite a lot of fusion stuff. So she's Scottish Malaysian. She does lots of fusion things. And this was puttanesca, but made, instead of like it being, because the puttanesca is normally like chilies and tomato, right? And olives and things, is that right? It's a pasta dish, classic me, pasta. So it was with crab, chili oil, and soy sauce. and various other things, not anchovies, capers, stuff like that. But it was so good. And then I did it with I wanted to have a salad with it, but instead of doing normally I'd do a really simple olive oil and lemon or something and season it. With this, I just did it with sesame oil and a tiny bit of soy, and then seasoned it, and it was such a nice accompaniment. It was so good. I don't know, it's maybe something you've not made before. It feels really complicated and difficult, and this didn't at all. It took me 20 minutes. The whole it could have probably take me 10. Do you know what I mean? You just put the pasta on and then do the other bits, and away you go.
Oh, I'm gonna look that up. I've not heard of that one before. What's something that you always have in your cupboard?
Pasta. And I would always have some Greek yogurt in my fridge.
Go-to hangover meal.
Is a roast a really bad thing to say? Or a fry-up? I know neither of those things cure a hangover, but they're what you want when you're hungover.
Yeah, all incredible hangover options. Tea or coffee?
I would have always said tea, but now I have a coffee shop. I drink a lot more coffee and I love it. And being a barista is really fun. I think if I had to get rid of one from my life, I would get rid of coffee though, so tea.
If you could only eat one country's cuisine for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It would be Italian, because I just think it covers all things. I think all of the other answers that I've given you today would change in a month's time or 2 months' time or something, because I just think that's the nature of that's the joy of life, right? I like change, and my opinions will change and my tastes change, and that's who we are as humans, right? But I think if you had to ask me what cuisine I would eat for the rest of my life, I think the answer would never change from Italian.
Okay, and no dinner party is complete without?
Despite my failure to answer this question well before, a really good guest list.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been so fun. Thank you.
It's so fun. I'm sorry for technical difficulty and my inability to answer one of the most crucial questions.
Do you want to let people know where they can find you, where they can find BookBar, and where they can follow along if they don't already follow you?
Yeah, so BookBar can be found on Instagram at BookBarUK, and our website is bookbaruk.com, where you can sign up to our mailing list and get book recs and hear about all of our events and book clubs and things. And then if you want to come and see us, we are on the Blackstock Road in Islington, and we are on Chelsea Manor Street, just off the King's Road in Chelsea.
Amazing.
Yay!
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Tables to Talk About. If you liked it, I'd love if you'd hit subscribe and left us a little review. It really helps people find us and means I can keep lining up dreamy guests to chat all things dinner parties. If we've got you in the mood to host, you can find all the playful tableware and styling bits you need over at Studio Dine, Studio Dine Store, and Tables to Talk About. And we've just launched a Substack. It's where I'm sharing all the juicy behind the scenes bits, exclusive extras from the pod, hosting tips, recipes, mood boards, restaurant recommendations, the works. Basically a little peek behind the curtain. Head to the link in the show notes to subscribe and come and hang out with us there too. See you next time.